TIFU by trying to demonstrate my Google Maps conspiracy theory to my GF, by user federal_mortgage_812. I have a conspiracy theory that sometimes Google Maps reroutes you purely to test how long the new route takes. Like if there's 4 possible routes between A and B, it might randomly take you down Route 3 just to compare to the fastest loop. The algorithm randomly assigns people to be guinea pigs, so some days you might just randomly get a bad route as a test subject. I told my GF this and she was unconvinced and thinks I'm just a bad driver since I wrecked my car last year by trying to drift, so I'm not allowed to drive anymore. So I suggested that we test it by driving a back street we know is fastest and then comparing it to whatever Google Maps suggests. She humored me and we drove to Taco Bell, took 13 minutes, then home. And then again using Google Maps. It did take us a different route through 2 sets of lights and with a really hard turn onto a main street. Didn't get to Taco Bell though because we got T-boned by a Camry on the turn. An old lady was driving the other car and had an actual conniption, started yelling that we'd destroyed her car etc and tried to flag down an ambulance. It was a minor low-speed crash. The ambulance looked at her and drove off. GF and I standing there like WTF have we done this, old lady is gonna pop a gasket. Eventually calmed her down and exchanged insurance. Drove home in silence. Now GF has sworn off Google Maps, so a minor win there. TLDR, wanted to test my theory about Google Maps, took us a shit route and my GF crashed into another car. She's not gonna use Google Maps anymore though. TIFU by listening to what my wife said without questioning it, by user Fehova. I'm sitting here in front of the washing machine, wondering how the fuck I got here. This fuck up happened approximately 30 minutes ago. I had just successfully fixed the garage door. The guide wheel had popped out of the guide track and was causing the garage door to go up and down in a weird grinding manner. I was super proud and came upstairs from the basement, and my wife had just finished walking the dog and came in the front door. I greeted her, excited to brag to her about how I had just fixed the garage door. She handed me the poop bag and told me to toss it for her, and I put the dog poop to the side as I was telling her about how I fixed the garage door. A fly appeared out of nowhere, on the wall right next to where we were talking. I've dealt with a lot of flies before, and I'm actually really good at killing them. The key is the flick of the wrist. You need to swing fast and hard and just slap down on the fly with a vengeance so you can make contact before it bolts away. I lined up my hand and was about to execute, when she yelled at me, "You don't use your hand." I looked around and saw her flip-flop near the door, and she was like, "Just use the poop bag." I picked up the little green poop bag, lined up my shot, and slapped the shit out of that fly. When the bag made impact with the wall, it burst open. Shit flew everywhere. It sprayed on my face, it got in my hair, it was on the floor, it was on the wall. When I looked down, a big chunk was just in the center of my shirt, and it was on my jeans. I stood there in disbelief, as my wife burst out laughing. My 2 young sons were just rounding the corner and watched it happen, and they started rolling on the floor crying in laughter. Everyone was laughing and having a great time, as I stood there wondering what the fuck had just happened. I took a shower, then realized that my only work-appropriate jeans had dog shit on them, so I went downstairs to do some laundry. As I sit here in front of my washing machine, I am still left wondering. Did I even kill the fly? TLDR tried to kill a fly with my hand. My wife said to use the dog poop bag and I smashed the bag into the wall and it burst open and got dog poop everywhere. The worst part is, I still don't know if I even killed the fly. Edit, woke up this morning and saw how many upvotes this got and showed my wife. She got upset that people are going to think she's an idiot for suggesting the poop bag, so I need to add some context. In her defense, she thought the fly was one of those slow-moving halfway dead flies, and she was expecting me to just smush the fly with the bag and then throw it away. In my defense, I was preoccupied and beaming with pride about how I just fixed the garage door. So when I was presented with my foe, the fly, I went into fight mode without thinking and just attacked. It did not process in my mind how fragile the doggy poop bag was. I just assumed it was like a Ziploc bag. I really wasn't thinking because I just saved hundreds of dollars by not having to call the garage door guy. Update. Kids were still laughing about it this morning, so a core memory was probably unlocked. Garage door was moving beautifully this morning when I left for the office. A Redditor said he just spent $422 to fix his garage door, so I confirmed I just saved a shitload of money. Life status of the fly, still unknown, but I'm optimistic he's dead. Overall, life is good. TIFU by admitting to my female best friend I took a glimpse at one of her tits, by user out _in_the tiles. I am a straight male, to clarify. She and I are the same age too. Yesterday we went out to a park to pass the time along with some other people. My female best friend was also there. She had a buttonless shirt that if placed right and you were on the right spot you could get a glimpse of either tits. Then there came a time she asked me to come over to watch something on her phone, and then I noticed that her breasts were probably braless. So I egregiously tried to confirm it by, well, taking a glimpse of one of her tits. She noticed but brushed it off playfully and jokingly and nothing else happened for a couple of hours. I didn't apologize in the moment. A couple of hours go by and I'm feeling guilty, so I text her admitting it was creepy and inappropriate of me. She said she didn't even remember that had happened, that it was no big deal and that it was okay. Today we got into an argument, unrelated subject, and then she brought up the aforementioned incident. Told me she's grossed out, never believed me capable of doing that, and that she was now uncomfortable with me. I told her words felt short to express how sorry I was and how much I regretted my actions and that it was indeed gross. Nevertheless, she told me things will not be the same as before and that she's unsure I don't have any sexual intentions with her. She's supposedly not mad, she's just grossed out. Also told me she doesn't want any physical contact with me. Told her it was okay and understandable. Never tried to justify my actions. We agreed on acting normally as if nothing ever happened, except that I kept my distance. I agreed. I'm in total panic and don't know how to deal with this situation or how to make it better. TLDR I admitted to my female best friend that I had in fact taken a glimpse at one of her tits. She got deeply disappointed with me and made it clear our relationship will change. TIFU by leaving my copious adult paraphernalia out in my room, by user Curious Boat 3588. My sister got married today so the entire extended family came to town for a massive wedding. I work in finance and had the busiest week of my professional career. As a result I had been missing in action for some of the festivities earlier in the week. Still wanting to do my part, I offered my house to 5 separate sets of relatives. I have a rather large house and can sleep about 10 people comfortably. My bedroom is on the main floor adjacent to the kitchen and the entertainment space. This will be relevant shortly. I had been told for months on end that my guests would be arriving Thursday morning. I had hired a maid to clean the entire house top to bottom on Tuesday with the exception of my bedroom which I prefer to clean myself. Cut to Wednesday morning before work. I was wanting to blow off some steam before the extended family arrive and had quite a morning with my extensive collection. I own 7 real dolls with costumes ranging from Zero Suit Samus to Queen Maeve to Rey Skywalker. I cosplay dress all my real dolls. Laugh if you want but it's my thing and totally drama-free, until this week, unlike real women. As real as the dolls are, providing them with costumes and fictional personalities has been incredible for my sex life. Again, this habit hurts no one. It's hygienic and bereft of complications. I knew I had my house to myself Wednesday so my plan was to clean up after work. I had finished multiple times and it was quite the mess. I'd muted the wedding group chat at work that day because the messages had become incessant. Upon returning from work I saw multiple cars in my driveway. Said fact honestly did not register until I recognized my aunt's Tesla. I walk into my house and everyone is quiet: my mom, my dad, my cousins, aunts, and uncles. I greeted them briefly and rushed into my room to find all 7 dolls stuffed in my master closet and my bed made. I lock my door and go into the bathroom in a sheer panic. In the group chat I discover that everyone had arrived a day early due to a miscommunication and that my parents had come over and let them all in at the same time. Which means everyone saw my post-solo orgy cosplay real doll collection. I texted my mom saying I had a long day and was too tired to entertain. She replied with a thumbs up and she never ever uses emojis. I drank a half a fifth of whiskey and passed out. I still have no idea who cleaned up the mess and who exactly saw what. This has been the worst and most awkward weekend of my life. The entire wedding was dead silent through my entire speech at the rehearsal dinner. TLDR I had a real doll orgy and got busted big time. TIFU by getting frustrated after being asked the same question 3 times by my wife and letting that frustration show, by userl4055. So, I got home from work around 8:30 in the morning. I put my stuff down, fed the dog, and sat down to join my wife in the living room as she watched YouTube. She offered to let me watch something, but I was fine watching whatever she wanted to watch. I didn't say it, but my reasoning was that I didn't want to watch anything because I was most likely going to fall asleep after having been awake all night long. She was watching courtroom judges berating dumb lawyers. It was pretty funny. I told her that I was fine watching whatever she wanted to watch. I started falling asleep, which is something that just happens after a 10-hour overnight shift. I get up, take a shower, come back and sit down. She offers me the remote to watch whatever I want, and again I said whatever she wanted was fine. She puts on a Game Grumps compilation. Cool, I like Game Grumps. I introduced her to them. We watch. I start to fall asleep again. I fight to stay awake, but I'm losing the battle. She makes some coffee and I have a cup. She sat back down and again told me to watch what I wanted to. It was here that I got frustrated and said for the third time, and I held up 3 fingers like a jackass. I'm fine. Watch what you want to. She fell silent and retreated to her phone. I could hear her sniffling. She was crying. She left the living room and went up to the front room where she works from home. She told me not to go up there. She started watching YouTube on her work computer. Now I'm alone in the living room with the TV to myself and feeling like a complete dick. TLDR, came home from work and sat down to watch TV. Wife offered to let me watch what I wanted 3 times. I got frustrated and let that frustration show when I said for the third time. And made her cry.